Hi there, I hope your day is going fantastic. This is a story time video. You know, every YouTuber does it now. Hashtag storytime. And I'm going to tell you a story time about me. About little Repzion. The little boy with a terrible speech impairment. The little boy who went to church and had no friends. The little boy who was in fact homeschooled, which is what I want to cover today. Because a lot of people seem surprised when I tell them that I was in fact homeschooled. My sister was my sister was homeschooled completely, my brother was homeschooled completely, and I was homeschooled completely up until age 18 when I went off to college. And boy, going from a homeschool experience to a college experience was overwhelming for me, and we'll maybe talk about that in another video. But today I want to focus on exactly why homeschooling was not for me. And here's the thing, I wish no ill will towards my parents because they did what they thought was best for me. But personally, as someone who knows myself the best, I can honestly say that I think I would have thrived a lot better going to a public school and interacting with people on a better environment than I was. Now, I first want to say that just because I had a bad experience being homeschooled doesn't mean that if you're going to be homeschooled or you have been homeschooled, that's necessarily going to be a bad experience for you. A lot of homeschoolers actually win a lot of contests, like spelling bees and, you know, the world-renowned those contests where people test all their fucking knowledge and shit. A lot of homeschoolers win that stuff. So that's not to say that homeschooling is necessarily a bad thing, but I do find that most homeschooling people who are homeschooled in a Christian environment are fucked in the head and get fucked over for the rest of their lives. Okay, that last part was just me exaggerating. No, they don't get fucked over for the rest of their lives because obviously I'm here and I've survived the horrible experience. So first things first is my curriculum. I went through a curriculum known as Alpha Omega, and I tried to find the early 2000s and early 90s, the curriculum. This is the closest thing I could find to the reference of what I personally used, this image here. This was Alpha Omega, and this was a Christian curriculum which went on into science, geography, culture, religions, chemistry, pretty much everything you can possibly imagine. But the difference with this curriculum is that it was these booklets, and I'd read all about this shit, and then after the chapter, I'd be tested on that knowledge, and I'd write it from the blanks, you know, A, B, C, D, and then at the very end of the book, then I'd actually have to take a test, and this test my mom would grade, and it was basically all the information in that small little thin book. But the problem with that book is that it was centered around Christian ideologies. Like, it was literally, there'd be Bible verses midway through, things about science, it would obviously blend in creationism and Noah's Ark and shit like that, but it did have informational things about, you know, the world like gravity, Einstein, but it presented it in a very Christian-like fashion. I felt like these books hindered my ability to expand my knowledge and potential to be able to find new viewpoints, and rather I found them through the internet, through YouTube, much later in my teenage years, which was unfortunate because I think I would have progressed and grown a lot faster if I hadn't have had this type of curriculum teaching. The second way that homeschooling was really bad for me was the fact that my ability to socialize was horrible. So I don't know if you're a Christian watching this, I don't know if you're homeschooled watching this, but all of my sister, my brother, and me all went through these things called co-ops. And a co-op was a thing that usually happened on a Friday or a Thursday, and a co-op would basically be a homeschooling attempt at trying to make a college environment. And what I mean by this is we'd go, co-op would always be at a church typically, and these were always Christian events. Every single week, we'd go to co-op, and we would have hour sessions, and we'd have like a class schedule that we'd choose through. I remember my last co-op that I went to, I was in an oceanography class, I was in a public speaking class, and I was in a English literature class, Christian English literature class. And basically I go to my church, and for 3 to 4 hours, I get taught in supposedly like a college environment with other people who are also homeschooled, who are just as socially awkward and don't know how to have proper dialogue like normal civilized people. And it was a horrible experience. It was one of the most I fucking hated going to the co-op. We'd say the Pledge of Allegiance every goddamn week. We'd say a big prayer about we hope that the Lord helps us with our education and we learn new things. And the curriculums that we were taught, even in these co-op, for these hour sessions, was, well, it was Christian. But that's not all. Back to the socialization part. It really really made me not want to talk to people because, one, I didn't know how to properly talk to people. I mean, let me put this in perspective. There was a girl that I really liked in co-op, and she threw her gum away. And the way that I got her attention was by grabbing her gum out of the garbage can and putting it in my mouth, and then telling her that, guess what I did? I grabbed your gum and I'm chewing your gum out of the trash can. I shit you not! I did that! I did that! And here, little old 12-year-old Danny thinking, oh, don't call me Danny, little daddy reptile thinking, this is a great way to get a girl's attention, is to take her gum out of the trash can and put it in my mouth and chew it. Like, if that's not gonna scare a girl away, I don't know what would. Or what about the time that I called a girl fat because I really wanted her to give me attention? And boy, did I get attention. 1 week later, my parents get a phone call, the dad's on the phone, your son called my daughter fat. And my parents forced a apology letter out of me. But Mom, but Dad, I just called her fat because I wanted her to give me attention because I thought she was cute. Like, if that doesn't put you in perspective on how socially inept I was at that time, I don't know what does. And those are true stories, by the way. I'm not making that shit up. Hell, when I was like 12, 13, 14, I was so obsessed with certain girls, I would literally write in my booklets, like, I love so-and-so, and I would write their name, and I would try to put it in the classrooms so they would see it. Ugh, it just gives me chills when I think about that. But another negative thing about homeschooling for me was my unpreparedness. When I went into college, I was overwhelmed. Because one of the things with being homeschooled is my mom was a great teacher, by the way. In no way is this a negative video towards her. My mom tried to do as much activity-filled, like, you know, mini vacation stuff where we'd go on a hike or something for a day and not even do any school. But for the most part, I never really had a set schedule in terms of, oh, I can sleep into like 9 o'clock, do school till like 2 in the afternoon. I never had a set schedule, like hour to hour to hour. I have to do this. Whereas in like a public school environment, you know, you go to math, you go to geology, you go to this, whatever. So when I went into the college life, it was overwhelming for me because I had no idea, one, how to properly socialize with anybody. I was like a little hermit. I'd always sit in the back of the class like, don't talk to me, I don't know what to say. And then if the teacher called on me in college, I would like turn bright red. Because I was easily embarrassed. I didn't like being the center of attention. I still don't like being the center of attention. Which is weird because I'm doing this, and I get tons of attention whether I want it or not. But that's just not me. I'm not the person who likes to be the center of attention. I kid you not, when I sat down for my first college class, I didn't know what a syllabus was. I had never even goddamn fucking heard the word syllabus in my life. And I had schedules on all these due dates when I had to turn in my my English 101 papers. And then another thing that introduced me with college and homeschooling is I had kids, other fucking college students, reading my shit and then grading me and telling me what I needed to change. I think that's one of the most insulting things. Like, maybe you think that's a good idea, but I don't like other students reading my stuff and critiquing my stuff saying, I think this should be better. My GPA severely suffered because I didn't know how to prepare. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was not mentally prepared for anything that was thrown at me. I literally had the mindset of, like, 13-year-old Daniel going to an adult thing where you actually have professors who expect you to have things on time, and all this shit. And my first year of college extremely suffered because of that, and it reflects on my GPA. Now, after that year, I buckled down and I fucking threw myself into that culture, that college life, and I hammered out shit. I passed my classes. I'll say it here and I'll say it again. Math is my #1 greatest weakness. I can't do math. I can do basic arithmetic. That's about it, but I've pretty much flunked every single math class I've ever taken, with the exception of basic arithmetic and pre-algebra. And one of the reasons I can't get by pre-algebra is because my mom's ability to teach me only went up to pre-algebra. So when I went into intermediate algebra, my mom didn't know how to properly teach me that. And this is nothing against her, but it suffered. I suffered from that lack of inability to be able to teach me from that because when I went into college, couldn't pass that shit for the life of me. I spent out of my own pocket hundreds of dollars trying to pass intermediate algebra so I could get qualified for college math. And I just couldn't possibly do it because my mom's inability to do that type of math. So that was another downside of being homeschooled, is there was limits to my education if my mom didn't know the proper stuff to teach me. But thankfully, what I did manage to do is my college brought out a thing. It was actually a philosophy class that's substituted for college math. And I took that substitute college, it's a college philosophy class that implemented logic and mathematical equations into sentence structures. And I actually passed it with a 2.6, 1 point over what I actually needed to pass it. But another downside of being homeschooled is that I was extremely, and this can also be in terms of religion, but for the most part, I was very, very repressed from the outside world. especially in the realm of sex, women, simple biology of, you know, a male and a female and how babies are made. So it's embarrassing when you get to like 15, 16 and then you find out how exactly children are made, what exactly your penis does and a vagina does, the act of sex. Like, I knew what sex was, but I didn't know anything on a biological, scientific level of how it actually works. Which is sad to me, because I wish I had been exposed to that stuff a lot younger and not be so repressed from the outside world and not know how to properly interact with people, not know how to properly do college homework, have my education completely limited because my mom could only teach me so much. But these are just a few of my experiences that I don't think, and I still don't think, homeschooling was a good thing for me. But I'd like to let you guys, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think homeschooling is a bad thing? I do think that if you're being homeschooled and you're being homeschooled in a Christian curriculum, that's a bad thing. I truly believe that. I don't know if there's secular curriculums or not, but I'd be curious to know of my audience how many of you guys are homeschooled. Are you homeschooled? Have you ever experienced the same things I've experienced? You know in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My video that I was uploading today actually did not come out properly. It came out fine with the camera wise, but my microphone battery died midway through, so all the audio was cut off. So hopefully I'll have that for the rest of sometime this week, the other video that I filmed. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or smash my booty hole. Smash my booty hole is like a euphemism for give me a like on the video, because likes do help me, and I like likes on the video because they get the video higher up in feed. Anyways, thank you for watching.